Let's take a look at some other activities in the Senate and the House of Representatives during the week. The Senate Committee on Communications during the week revealed an ongoing 300 billion naira proposal between MTN and the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, over the 780 billion naira fine imposed on the network by Nigeria Communications Commission (NCC). At an investigative hearing in the National Assembly, the Vice Chairman of the committee, Senator Adiola Olamilekon, produced a proposal by MTN where the network provider insisted that it could only pay the total of 300 billion naira out of the 780 billion naira fine imposed. The breakdown of the proposal, which was forwarded to the Ministers of Communications and Finance by the Solicitor General, as well as NCC Executive Vice Chairman, Professor Umar Dambata, consists of a 50 billion naira already paid by the MTN into a recovery account of the Central Bank of Nigeria in good faith, and another 100 billion naira to be paid via electronic transfer between December 31st, 2016 to December 31st, 2020.
It's clearly written, our comments are by MTN Nigeria, and they have given to us their terms of payment and of settlement, and beneath, underneath, they said total amount of financial settlement 300 billion is here. Is a proposal given to you which we have started working on, and also they've given you the terms of what they are paying in terms of the first set of payment 150. They've given you participation in sovereignty bond purchase 80 billion. They equally tell you of purchase of access of fiber network 70 billion. The total amount of financial settlement 300 billion. It's here. It's here. And first and foremost, the first one, you have started the implementation by asking the Office of Accountant General to open an account to pay this 50 billion into an account A, which has no direct correlation with our subject of discussion.
The Vice Chairman of the committee expressed concern that the Attorney General of the Federation and the Presidency kept the NCC and the Minister of Communications in the dark in the negotiations with MTN over the fine. However, the AGF's representatives described the document as a mere proposal, which he said was not an end in itself, but a means to an end. In a shocking move, the Minister of Communications and Executive Secretary of the NCC said they were not aware of the negotiations between the Attorney General of the Federation and MTN, which led to the payment of 50 billion naira by MTN into CBN's recovery account on February 24th.
Even though there has been a proposal from MTN, negotiations have not yet commenced. It is with your directives now that when proposals are to commence, I believe it has not commenced. When it is to commence, the office of the Honorable Minister of Communications and the office of the Executive Vice Chairman must be adequately represented at the negotiation table.
However, committee members were displeased by the entire process, questioning the rights of the AGF to enter into negotiations with MTN, while sidetracking the Minister of Communications and NCC in the matter.
NCC has been fining telecoms operators for years, and the fines go into a particular account, and the NCC renders account to the federal government. How did it change? Why did it change? And now that it has changed, is there any ulterior motive? As it is, the CBN and the Attorney General the Accountant General have already interfered in the independence of the NCC, and that should not happen. And you have not also involved the minister, who is the supervising authority. So, as far as I'm concerned, what you are doing is voodoo.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives Committee on Telecommunications is insisting that the MTN pay the initial fine of 1.4 trillion naira imposed by the National Communications Commission (NCC). Members of the committee in a meeting with the Minister of Telecommunications and officials of the NCC questioned the process that had taken in reducing the fine to 780 billion naira. The lawmakers say the fine of 1.4 trillion naira is already captured in the 2016 budget.
After you have imposed the fine, somebody went ahead to reduce the fine. Now somebody is taking the lead in negotiation. That is not right. You are the one that fined them. You should be the one taking charge. They should be following you. And in all these situations, in all these issues, in all these sagas that have been going on, the National Assembly has not been taken into consideration at all. We shouldn't be. As I've said, fining them for 1.4 trillion, we have projected in the appropriation bill that 1.4 trillion is coming to the coffers of federal government. And we base our projection on that. If we can remember vividly, in US, the oil spill, BP, they paid. Barclays Bank paid. They must pay.
A federal lawmaker, Senator Hope Uzodinma, is asking the Senate to review the Escovers gas project by the NNPC, Chevron and Sasol SA. Raising a motion on the floor of the Senate, Senator Uzodinma said that the project was conceived to add value to the Nigerian economy. Speaking in an interview with Channels Television, Senator Uzodinma said when completed, the project is expected to drastically reduce gas flaring, ensure the production of sufficient cooking gas for domestic consumption, and generate revenue for the country. However, he said the project has been lingering for years and is suffering several setbacks.
The Escovers gas project and gas to liquid project was conceived. A very lofty idea that is meant to help reduce drastically the quantity of gas being flared, and then gather the gas, convert the gas, transport the gas to the plant, and convert the gas transported to other form of products like AGO. The project was supposed to last for 60 months. By the cash flow projection, recovery of the capital investment was supposed to be for 3 years. And the gas gathered was supposed to be sold at the international price regime. Now, 2016, the project is not completed. Apart from that, the cost of the project was denominated in US dollars. Now, I'm told that the JV partners, not only that they did not complete the project within 60 months, has secured another approval for variation for another $2 billion. And isn't going ahead, giving government the bills that is going to make the project delivery cost to almost $10 billion. And we have not seen the reason for all this. We've looked at the technical design and the engineering design of the project. There is no variation in terms of the scope and size of project. And gas is continuously being flared.
The Senate has mandated its Committee on Gas to investigate all issues relating to the project and establish the actual level of compliance with the aim of the project, contract terms, and overall performance of the project. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has passed a resolution urging the executive to constitute the National Council on Public Procurement without further delay. The House says it is worried that corruption and fraud have tainted the public procurement process in the country.
8 years after the enactment of the Public Procurement Act, successive administrations have failed to constitute the National Council on Public Procurement as required by Section 1 of the Public Procurement Act. The House also notes that Section 7, Sub 1 of the Act provides for a Director General of the Bureau of Public Procurement who shall be appointed by the President on recommendation of the Council after a competitive selection process. The House is worried that corruption, conflict of interest, fraud, irregularities, underpricing, bribery, faking of technical and financial capacities by bidders, leading to compromise in quality delivery, have tainted public procurement process, and these have retarded national development and economic growth.
Now, this is where we draw the curtains on this week's edition of The Gavel. If you have any views on any of the issues discussed, please email us on thegavel@channelstv.com. Thank you for staying with us and see you again next week.